I don't know where the character of Ruth comes from. In some way, she just sprang into my head fully formed, really. But I do feel like I know her. I feel like I know her better than I know any of my other characters. And I like her. I feel like I'd like to be her friend. I'd like to have a drink with her. And I feel quite protective of her in a way. I don't think she's based on anyone in real life, but there are certainly elements of my aunt there. My Aunt Marge, who the book's dedicated to, my two older sisters, and my mum. They're all very strong, independent women. Well, marshland is interesting, and I've always been drawn to kind of lonely coastal landscapes, and places where the earth meets the sky, as Cathbad would say. My husband, who's an archaeologist, told me that in the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, people used to think that marshland was sacred. Because it's neither land nor sea, they saw it as a kind of bridge to the afterlife. Neither land nor sea, neither life nor death, something in between. And that's why, I mean, this is a theory, but that's why Iron Age man used to bury deposits on the edge of marshland, used to bury treasure, sometimes used to bury bodies. And that's really where the idea for the book came from. I've always lived near the sea. I love the sea. But where I live in Brighton, it's kind of more a place where you'd go on the pier and eat chips rather than have a spiritual experience. The salt marsh is based on the North Norfolk coastline. And it's a place I know very well because we often go on holiday there with my aunt. And we've spent many a happy holiday um, on her boat and walking along those beautiful North Norfolk beaches. So that's really where the salt marsh comes from. As I say, my husband's an archaeologist and he's been very, very helpful with all the detail, with the procedure, with the background information. And some of his colleagues have been very helpful too, particularly a colleague who is a forensic archaeologist, a woman forensic archaeologist like Ruth. I mean, I find archaeology absolutely fascinating, but I could never go on a dig because I just get far too dirty. And I'd also probably want a cappuccino break after 5 minutes. But it is very, very fascinating. I mean, it's a huge compliment to be compared to Kathy Reichs. I can hardly believe it, really. Well, I suppose they're both professional women in a man's world. Well, clever, independent, private, compassionate, determined. That's far more difficult. I hope that I'm good fun, good humoured, kind, a good friend. On the bad side, I can be very quick tempered and I can be very impatient, particularly with inanimate objects like my computer. Well, we both struggle with our weight. We both love cats. But Ruth is much quieter than me, much more contained. Ruth is very British, and I'm half Italian, so I think that's made me a bit more fiery.